Why do so many people find success in quitting using alcohol in the short term, but have great problems staying away from alcohol in the long term? Now, in today's video, I want to show you just how to commit to rebuilding yourself, rebuilding your life after you stop drinking alcohol so that you have long-term success. I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery and Habits Unplugged, where we help you to stop drinking alcohol, build your epic life, and become the best version of yourself. Now, if you want to help us, if you want to help other people who are trying to stop drinking alcohol, you can give this video a like, you can subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and you can also share if you dare. It's one of those things, so please share the video. So let's get into it. Now, for me, staying away from alcohol long term is all about changing a lot about who you are and what you think. So think about this in terms of just the non-measurables in your life, the things that you can't measure. Quitting drinking alcohol is really something that it's very difficult to measure it. Right? Now, I always say that to stop drinking alcohol is very simple. You stop putting the alcohol into your mouth, so you're not really measuring stopping drinking alcohol, because if you do that on day one and you don't do it for the rest of your life, then you've stopped. So you make the decision to stop doing it, you stop doing it, and you don't do it anymore. That's basically it. So how do you measure that? How do you measure the feeling going forwards? I mean, you can't. There's no way that you can do that. How do you measure that your life is getting better every day? That's something that you do, that you can get specific about. You can get specific about how your life is improving in other ways, right? So the goals that you're achieving, for instance, you can measure those kind of things. But moving away from alcohol, how do you measure that? You can count the days. You can say to yourself, well, yeah, it's been one day since I've stopped drinking alcohol. It's been a week, it's been a month, it's been a year. A recent one for me was, I got a woman on Facebook and she said it was 44 years that she's been going to AA for. So, for me, that's ridiculous to be counting the days up to that. I mean, for me, it's 6 months. A year is a great milestone to go towards. And you can always say to yourself, geez, it's 10 years since I had my last drink. I say that about cigarettes, but it's just not a part of my life anymore, So you move on with those things. So, you can't measure getting better every day. You can't measure moving away from alcohol every day. You can't measure really the cravings that are diminishing. I'll give you an example of unmeasurables. Let's say that you're going to the gym, and you can go to the gym for a variety of different reasons, right? You can go for losing weight, you can go to bulk up a bit, put on some muscle, you can go to get fit. So let's say, for argument's sake, that you're going to the gym and you're trying to lose weight. And on day one, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, right, that's how I am now. And you go to the gym, you do your workout, an hour and a half, whatever it is, of struggle and sweating. You come back, you have your shower, and you look at yourself in the mirror. What do you see? You don't see anything, right? There's no change. You go to the next day, you go to the gym, you do exactly the same thing again. You come back and you look in the mirror, and again, you see nothing, right? This is because improvement happens over many months, right? If you take a photograph of yourself now and you take another one of yourself in a month, you're going to notice the differences between those two photographs. But because we look at ourselves every day when you're brushing your teeth, or there's a variety of different opportunities that you see yourself, so you just don't see the changes in yourself. The only way to do this is to there's a few measurements that I'll go into in a minute, but the goal for me is always about being happy, contented, living the best possible version of yourself. But you can only measure that over time, right? Which means that you have to be consistent in what you do. When you're using alcohol, you're thinking about pleasure in the moment. You're thinking about achieving something in the moment. So it's an instant gratification mentality, right? And you need to get rid of that, right? To make consistent improvements, to get these improvements over the long term, you've got to follow a process, right? And I'm not talking about believing here or having faith, but, thinking about it logically, and know that you're following a certain amount of steps, or a sequence of steps that is going to take you from where you are now to where you want to be, right? That's what success looks like. It's not, if you don't have that, if you don't have a process for doing something, you're like the boat that's in a storm without a rudder. You're going to be pushed around by the winds and by the waves, and where you'll end up, nobody knows. So you have to think that what you're doing is right. You have to understand, I mean, belief comes into that to a certain extent, but you've also got to understand that pain and pleasure principle, right? You know, you're trying to stop drinking alcohol because you're in a certain amount of pain, whether that's emotional pain or physical pain, and you want to get rid of that pain and you want to get some pleasure in your life. So you've got to think about things in terms of short-term pain, short-term discomfort, in order to, you know, push past that and get long-term gain. Let's go back to the losing weight again. You can't see the day-to-day changes, right? You won't see how much you've lost in a day or even a week by looking in the mirror, because, you know, you're just used to doing that. You can measure the different body parts, right? So you can say to yourself, well, my bicep is getting a bit bigger this week, or you can measure your stomach if you want to reduce that. You can weigh yourself, and hopefully you're on a downward trend with that. And you know, it's lovely when you're losing weight or you're trying to do something like that and you hear somebody give you a compliment about how different you look. Wow, you've lost weight, or something like that. Or you put on a pair of pants and they're loose now, you know, instead of being tight. Or you put on a t-shirt and it's getting tighter, you know, you're looking at it and you're going, Jesus, look at the arm on that, you know, it's really coming up. Then you know that the changes are beginning to show, right? You don't see them, like I say, because you're looking at them every day, but you know, there's certain things that you do in your life that you don't see the results of them. You know, brushing your teeth is one example. You know, you brush your teeth every day, it takes 2 minutes to brush your teeth, and it cleans all the stuff off. So you might have really dirty teeth beforehand and you look at them and you go, right, they're clean. But other than that, you don't see the result. The reason why you're doing it is because you want to protect your teeth over the long term. And it's only a part of the process. So you brush your teeth, you floss, you go to the dentist and you get your teeth cleaned, you watch your diet so you're not eating too many sugary things or too many things that are going to interfere with the enamel on your teeth, anything like that, right? Now, making long-term changes, right? So let's say we're quitting using alcohol. It is all about first stopping doing what you're doing, right? So, you know, you're stopping the alcohol, stop putting it into your mouth. And then if you want to get to that part of your life, you want to get to the best possible life that you can live, you've got to make day-to-day boring, monotonous changes, right? So, you know, these are things that you need to build up over your life. And again, it's about a process, but it's not about one particular thing. It's about a whole lot of individual things that build up over time, right? Some more than others. For me, we teach this thing in Habits Unplugged called the vigorous cycle. And that's, I'll break it down for you really simply. It's nutrition, it's water, sleep, exercise, and mental nutrition. So you're talking about eating the right foods, cutting out junk, drinking plenty of water, getting good sleep, getting good exercise. And mental nutrition is sort of making sure that you're not getting crap inside your brain. You know, you're not listening to news all the time, and you're getting a lot of negative stuff. So it's being careful, turn the dial down on the negative stuff and turn the dial up on the positive stuff, the stuff that's going to help you in your own life. But, you know, if you go through one day and you skip any of these things, it's not going to matter much in the grand scheme of things, right? Just, you know, skipping. If you want to say, I'm out with my family today, we're all down the beach and we're all going to eat crap food, you know, we're going to eat junk food. So there's various levels of that, but you get the idea. You don't have to do these things every day, but you have to do it consistently. The idea is that the basic dynamics of what you're trying to do, you're building a system of living that sort of promotes the happiness that you want in your life, you know, to get to that best possible version of yourself. And that's where the beauty lies, right? It works in the sense that you're day to day, step by step, and you're building and building and building. It becomes habitual for you. But the same thing can happen in the opposite way around. You know, this is how we get to the state that we're in now. You know, I was drinking for 33 years, and that didn't happen overnight. If you consistently do bad things, you promote yourself to doing other things that are bad for you. You know, when I was drinking, I started eating junk food. I wasn't getting a lot of exercise, and there was a lot of, it's like a vicious cycle, a downward cycle. So that sort of promotes unhappiness, it promotes frustration in your life, and it definitely promotes a negative life. So alcohol use is the opposite of that systematic, rational thinking that I was talking about earlier. You know, it's based on your emotions. All alcohol use is based on emotions. We say, I feel like a drink, right? You're drinking to either appease emotions, right? To push down certain emotions. You know, if you're feeling, it was one of my favorite things, you know, if I was feeling pissed off, if I was feeling angry, if I was feeling depressed, I go and have a drink and I try and push down those emotions and try and elevate other emotions. And the problem is that, you know, it's really deceptive. It's really detrimental for you. You know, we don't realize that this is happening over the long term. It's very insidious. And basically what happens is that your emotions get tied to the alcohol. You become dependent. That's where your dependence comes from. You're dependent for pushing down emotions on alcohol, and you're dependent for lifting up emotions on for alcohol as well. And normal, natural emotions are a normal, natural part of your life. So, you know, if you need to have a drink in order to lift up your emotions, then, you know, it's bad news for you. So, and the problem is that we always say to ourselves, well, I mean, I'll do it today. I'll do it now, because you're in the moment. You don't care about tomorrow, right? You say to yourself, well, I'll stop tomorrow, or I'll stop next week, or I'll quit next month, or in 2 months' time. And you know yourself that 2 months. I mean, it's easy to say to yourself, well, I'm going to quit in a month's time, because it's a month's time away. You know, even if you're making plans to do it, the closer you get to a month, the harder it is to actually think about it. You know, the more stressed out you're going to get. And what do you do when you're stressed out? So in 2 months or 3 months' time, you're not going to be the same person. You certainly won't be in the same position. Your habit's not going to be in the same position that it is now. And why should that matter to you? You know, but if you think about it, you know, what happens to your body when you have another 2 or 3 months of accumulated alcohol going into your body, that accumulation of alcohol, right? What's it going to do to you mentally and physically? You know, it's all about the process again, right? You know, think about that in 2 or 3 months' time, you're going to be a little bit less capable of doing it, and your habit is going to be a bit stronger. So you're fighting two different fronts here, and both of them are working against you. So finding a process of how to stop drinking alcohol and working out what's going to work for you, what's going to be the best thing that's going to work for you, what your goals are in life, how you're going to get there, how you're going to stick to it day by day by day. That's the key. So just to recap a little bit, long-term change equals long-term commitment, right? Changes happen little by little by little, right? You've got to be committed to the long term, and you've got to take it step by step by step. Some of it's going to be boring, some of it's going to be monotonous, but that's the things that you have to do in order to feel long-term happiness. You know, happiness is a great goal that just does not come with an instant gratification mentality. It just doesn't. You know, you think that you're feeling happy in the moment, but you're not. You know, the idea of the happiness that you get in the moment is getting less and less and less. You accept less, because that's where your emotional levels are right now. So get the basics right, get the process right. It's all about the process, and it's all about that step by step by step. So listen, if you want our help in stopping drinking alcohol, our program is Habits Unplugged. We've got a great community. We've got hundreds of step-by-step videos that will take you through preparation, getting you ready to stop. Transition, which is moving you through from the drinker's mind, from that way of thinking about alcohol into not thinking about it so much. And then finally going into transformation. That's my major part. This is what I love the best, is making sure that you get your mind in a place where you're never going to go back again. You know, you're building new habits, you're destroying a lot of old habits that you don't want anymore. But it's basically a thing of personal transformation. Everyone's going to be different. Everyone works out different at the end, but it's all good, because you're heading towards the best possible version of yourself and a happy life that you want. So there's a $1 trial. You can take a 7-day trial. You can cancel at any time. It's a month after that monthly thing. We've got a year thing as well. No contracts. Like I say, cancel any time. So if you want that, there's a link down below this video. Take care of yourself. I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.